Hannah Barton. She's the director of Heartland Singers, the current and longest reigning Region 16 small chorus champions of Sweet Adelines International. Hannah is an accomplished educator and member of Region 16's education faculty and a recognized coach, having received the Larry Dale Coaching Achievement Award in 2014. Hannah grew up under the influence of barbershop, thanks to both of her parents, Tony and Val. She joined her first chorus when she was 12 years old. In the year 2000, Hannah joined North Metro Chorus and sang with them for 18 years, and now is the director of Heartland Singers. For Hannah, quartets have always also been an important part of her barbershop life too. I know because I was lucky enough to share the stage and many hours of behind the scenes singing and laughing with her for 10 years when she sang baritone with me in our quartet Spritzer. She was instrumental in finding the right music for us and would spend many, many hours researching arrangers' websites and evaluating music before it was even discussed with us as an idea. When she started as a director for Heartland Singers, she applied what she knew about appropriate difficulty level of music and brought them into contest with the song Beyond the Sea. And the performance and delivery was spot on. One of my favorite song performances at our regional competitions ever. And I'm sure anybody remember that performance. I loved it, my favorite. She has a great ear and love for this art form, and we're lucky to have her with us tonight to share some insight with us on this topic. Welcome, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you. That's lovely. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, long time barbershopper. Gosh, I was 12. That's way too long ago. And now I'm big. Like I'm already big enough. I don't need any more help. That's all good. Okay, well, hi everyone. Thanks for coming, joining us on a Thursday evening. I always found Thursdays to be my tired night, so I really appreciate everybody chiming in. All right, so I am going to talk about music selection, and I'm sure there's lots of questions out there. But before we start, there's just a couple things that we're going to go over that are really important to delivering the music. So if you just give me a moment here. Oh, I was mentioning, I can see the comments, so this isn't good for my little attention span. Anyways, see, I've already gone. I'm already gone. All right, I've been having major computer problems today, so I'm hoping that they behave. My computer behaves for me today, and that I can successfully present everything that I have on my slide deck. All right, I'll share this with everybody. Am I presenting right now? Oh no, your screen share is paused. I didn't even know you could pause it. Look at that. You learn something every single time you come on here. Okay, so how do I unpause it? Did I pause it? Can you see my screen? I do this on a general basis.
Yes, we can see your email.
Your email with Larry,
songs.
right?
No, you don't want to see that. Wrong.
Too bad there was nothing juicy in there, Hannah.
Now we can see. Good.
Perfect.
That's good.
Okay, music selection and more. What you need to know to showcase your best, because that's what song selection all is about. We have our favorite songs that we want to sing because we want to be able to perform them, but really we need to make sure that we are showcasing our best. All right, so let's review. So I want to talk about vocal health. A lot of us have, I know for myself, let some of these things that if I was singing on a weekly basis, I would make sure that I was doing. And so some of us may have let some of these go while we're practicing on Zoom and not as active singing. So a couple of vocal health things that I just want to cover to help you. And as we transition, I know some people are starting to get together in person. And so as we transition back into a regular rehearsal, some of these things might help you because, and same with the next slide I'm going to do, because, you know, we are going to then be singing for hours and we haven't been singing for hours. So obviously drink plain water. That's great for lots of things, but it does keep your vocal folds hydrated, which we like to, well, I like to drink coffee and it tends to dehydrate. So we want to make sure that they are hydrated enough so that they can do what they're supposed to with ease. Get rest. I mean, I love to sleep, but I just never get enough. But it's a great time for your body to repair. So you want to make sure that you are getting enough hours and that you, I think I talked here about no late night snacking. So when your body is, you know, repairing itself and you've just eaten a meal or whatever, your body spends that time, rather than repairing, it spends that time digesting. And so if you do, because it does happen to all of us, try to incline yourself when you're sleeping so that it's a little bit easier on your stomach and the stomach acids, because this is where I'm headed. The stomach acids are what can sometimes cause damage to our vocal folds and we don't even know it. So when we're sleeping, the acid comes back and it actually will burn your cords. Now, it can be, you know, a minor thing that doesn't last very long, or it can actually end up causing damage, and you can find that you're losing parts of your range. You might lose your lows, you might lose your highs. And a lot of the time it is due to this acid reflux. Even if you don't feel the burning that everybody talks about, it might present itself in different ways. And so making sure that, you know, you're getting the rest so your body can repair, but, you know, with that, you know, the no late night eating sort of thing, especially if, you know, you're heading into contest and you want to make sure you're in your best form. These are things that you definitely want to try and do several weeks out, maybe a month out, 2 months out. Avoid glottal attacks. I know it's hard with allergies, with, you know, colds and everything, but that constantly, you're slapping your vocal cords together, basically. And you want to not do that, because anytime, you know, you get two things together, you can cause damage. And so coughing, yelling, that really hard onset, if you're going to, I don't know, scream because you're excited or whatever, that can cause damage. And it only needs to have to be a one-time event to actually cause some pretty lasting damage. So trying to avoid that. If you have something like a frog, as we call it, a little piece of mucus, you know, try drinking. If regular water's not working, try a warm drink or something like that. It's really important to try and, you know, you can hear me, just gentle. Try to do it gently rather than, you know, I don't want to do it. Not gonna, but rather than something that is forceful. Gentle warm-ups. So in the morning, you know, again, a lot of us has gone to online. We haven't had the same time in the car. That's when I always did my warm-ups. But if you have time in the shower, when, you know, you've got nice hot water and you've got all that steam to hydrate your cords, right? Even if it's breathing exercises. So if people are sleeping, you don't want to wake them up, then even some breathing exercises just to get everything working together nicely, so that when you come, even for talking, you know, proper breathing. So many of us don't proper breathe when we're talking either. So some of these are great for in the morning. And you really, you know, once you're warm, you should be warm for a long time. You're not going to be unwarm. So once you've warmed up, you should be good. The other thing too is that if you have to sing early in the morning, those of us who've been in some competitions where, you know, we have to go and have those really early morning rehearsals, things like having warm water or even a coffee, try not to have too much sugar, just for the acids again, same with the dairy, but something warm. or again, the warm shower with the steam, or if you have a heating pack, like, you know, those magic bags you can put in the microwave, that's also really good, just to wrap around your neck and just get everything kind of relaxed and ready to go. So it'll help in the warm-up process, and it'll actually get you warmer faster. So that's a really key thing, especially when we are back at contest and we have to sing early in the morning. Breathing properly, which I just said. So many of us don't breathe properly when we speak. I will probably have great examples of this tonight, where I just want to get my thought out in one breath before I have to take a breath, because, you know, so you talk to the ends of your phrases. You all might have these people who, like, they're talking and talking and they're like talking like this at the end of their phrases. And before in your head, you're like, breathe, take a breath, it's okay. You know, I'll still follow your story. So making sure that even when we do a lot of talking, I'm a teacher, I do a lot of talking, making sure even I engage my diaphragm, or even slowing my pace down of how I talk sometimes helps as well. And obviously proper breathing for singing is key. It's actually a key to a lot of things that may be causing problems, like tension. So you want to make sure that we've got a good handle on that, which is why I have some breathing techniques coming up. So I talk about weightlessness, this use of your head tone. So I remember I was in a class with Laura Palace, and she said that on the days her quartet would have a performance, halfway through the day, and she answered phones all day, she said, all of a sudden I started talking like this. And people would be like, oh, do you have a performance tonight? She'd be like, why? Why do you say that? They're like, because you have that weird voice on, you know? So she was trying to get the weight off of her vocal cords, get that head tone warmed up, because we don't use it so much when we're speaking. And so kind of that weightlessness, that pressure off of your vocal cords, which you also want to do when you're singing as well, which is where the proper breathing comes in. So if you're breathing properly, then there should be no tension, right? When we take a breath, when you hear any of that tightness, that is tension, okay? And whatever tension you breathe in with, you are going to sing with. That same tension will be in your next phrase. So you want to make sure that you really figure out how that diaphragm works, how I can take a relaxed breath and not have to suck it in, because we actually don't have to suck in air. That's not how our lungs work. All right. So yes, think weightlessness, and then relax. Really, it is key to so many things, but none of us have time, because we all fill our days 2-3 times over. And so finding, 15 minutes to do whatever your preferred activity is and shut out the world, is always a good thing to try and fit in, especially if you're feeling a little tense. Usually Fridays, that's when that special juice comes out Fridays. Okay, so that's just some vocal health tidbits. And as you can see, I can talk a lot. So I need to make sure I'm breathing properly. So that takes me to my next slide. All right, so breathing techniques, or I guess breathing exercises. Okay, so for all of these, you should maintain your proper posture, whether you're sitting down or you're standing. I mean, standing up, you obviously want to stand up straight. You don't want to create any tension, so you should always feel kind of relaxed and in a comfortable state when you are doing these breathing exercises. So I have most of these are just breathing. And then it isn't until the last one, which is cut off for some reason. And can you still see that at the bottom? Oh, you really, when you make this stuff, you want it all to be perfect. And then reality sets in. So anyway, the last one is the only one that's pitched. So all of these other ones are not pitched. And there's several. The first three are very similar in the breathing techniques, but I'll just go through them quickly here. So we have the slow breath through your nose, and then you're going to breathe in for 3. You're going to suspend or hold. We're trying to get away from this word hold, because people tense up when you have to hold. And then you don't have to freeze your whole body. You just have to suspend, not doing anything. And then you exhale through your mouth for 3. And then again, after you exhale, you hold again for 3. And then you repeat. So let's give this one a quick try. So we're going to inhale in through our nose, suspend for 3, exhale out of our mouth for 3, and then we're going to hold again. So here we go. 1. I have a puppy that I guess finished his chewy. Here we go. You're going to go in 2, 3, and suspend 2, 3, exhale out 2, 3, and suspend 2, 3. And then you do it again. Just give me 1 second while I put him in his crate. All right, so the second one, similar to that, it's a yoga breath. So this one's just using the nostrils, where you plug one nostril, you breathe in for 8, and then you alternate it, and then you breathe out of the other nostril for 8. So the mouth's not involved at all. So let's try this one. Ready? So plug one side, doesn't matter which side, just plug one side, and you're going to go in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you would repeat that. Okay. All of this time, really be aware of your lower abdomen. While we're sitting, it's kind of good because you can kind of feel that. One of the ones we're doing is the bent over breath, where you will be sitting. So you can kind of feel that. Nothing, even if you have a desk in front of you and you kind of have your arms on the desk, when you breathe, there should be no movement in this area, right? You want to keep it all nice and low, all nice and low. So the third one, again, it's going to be an open mouth, deep inhale for 5. So that's going to be more like this. And you're going to inhale, and when you like have that massive tube of air, because the mouth is a lot bigger than the nose, you're going to fill up quickly. Okay. But try and fill up and feel how low and how full that gets in your abdomen, lower abdomen area when you inhale for 5. And then you know that fog up the window air, you're going to exhale. And even putting your hand there so you feel the warmth. You want to create that warmth. Again, that's nicely hydrated. It's great for your vocal cords, okay? So when you repeat this, you increase the amount of time you inhale and exhale for. But right now, let's just try it one time through, okay? So open your mouth, and you're going to go inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hot air. 4, 5, and then you would do that again. So hopefully when you breathe in through your mouth and everything's open, there should be no right, there's none of that. It should be a nice relaxed breath in. Some people might call that a yoga breath out, that when it's kind of vocal like that, that warm exhale is really good for singing. So you're going to want to practice that, and then practice, like I said, filling. You could even do it where you fill for 1 beat less, but you exhale for 1 beat more. So that would challenge yourself, where you have less time to fill up and you have longer, because that in actuality is what we do in our music. You have that long to breathe, and you got a phrase that is, 3 systems long. So you want to make sure that you're putting some of that in play that is going to be reflected in your music. So panting like a dog. I always like this one because it's really hard to pant like a dog and to use just your shoulders. So I like it because it's a nice clear indicator to me of that the diaphragm is working. So when you pant like a dog, make sure you stick your tongue out. So it's a and I don't know if you can see, but my diaphragm has a lot of movement. And that's what you want to get used to, because that lets you know the area where you need to be singing, and not only, or breathing, sorry, not singing, breathing, but not only that, you need to know what that feeling is, because when you exhale, you actually want to kind of suspend and keep that support. That's where that supported sound comes from. So you want to know how it works. That panting really makes you realize, oh, there it is. Okay. So number 5, the bent over breath. That's one where you just, it is thunderstorms here. You just take your elbows and you put them on your knees, and then you are going to have your belly fill your lap if you're me, but just kidding. You're going to fill up. You can't even see me. Here I am doing, and I can't see myself. There we go. So if you're just leaning over with your elbows on your knees, okay, when you inhale, you will feel this back expansion, right? So when you inhale, you can inhale through your nose or your mouth. It doesn't really matter. I say 4 counts for this one, in and out, just so you can get that expansion. Now, if you can bend over more, then you'll feel more of that stretch in the back. And so when we inhale low, we want to use up all of that area, right? And sometimes we don't actually expand in the back. So having that feeling or that sensation, if you can memorize that when you breathe in and then out, you will then try to recreate it as you either sit up straight or stand up with that back expansion as well. Another one that isn't on here, but I had heard once at a music school, was to fill your pockets with air, right? Trying to get that low breath. Think about filling your pockets with air. I kind of liked that one. And then the last is pitch, and it is a lip trill. And I know lots of people have some issues with lip trills, right? So just if you need to assist, I think the best thing for lip trills that was explained was the different embouchures, right? If you're playing instruments, if you're playing a tuba, they're going to be really loose, and that's not going to be the bubbling that you want. If you're playing a trumpet, it's a really tight embouchure, and you're not going to want that. So you want a happy medium. Think of the air being focused kind of right in the middle of your lip, okay? So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 when I do it, but I do it 3 times in a row. So it will go. So I would do that up and down my range, and then I would increase how many times I bubble. So I would go from 3 to 5 to 7 to 9. I would even do 11. I don't necessarily pick up the pace either. I don't do that when I'm trying to do the higher ones, right? Because you're trying to meter your breath, because this is like what I said before, is that we have this long to breathe and we have these really long phrases, right? And we have to know how we meter our breath. So doing the I promise you, the more you practice it, the better you'll get, okay? If you have to assist in any way with your bubbles, there's lots of ways. If you have to do a tongue trill, that'll work as well, as will the letter V, the V sound, like vacuum. This is actually the placement I use when I bubble, with my teeth kind of touching my bottom lip. For me, that helps rather than I wouldn't get anywhere if I tried to bubble like that. Okay, so that's just some breathing exercises that hopefully will help you understand how that mechanism is supposed to work. All right, so let's get into this whole music thing. I'm just going to, before I do this, I just need to switch over, make sure I have the proper things open. I have 2 screens, so, which is great for me, but I want to make sure I have everything ready to go. Okay. Yes, yes. I think yes. Okay, I think we should be good. That was not what I wanted. This one. There we go. Awesome. This is the one good thing with teaching online this year is that I've had to get good with my 2 screens and figuring out how to do this whole online virtual learning. It's actually been really good. Okay, so now, oh, there it is. Sometimes my eyes don't work. All right, here we go. Music, music, music. Doo-doo-doo. So as you can see, there are so many types, so many genres, right? So much music, so little time. So how do we decide, right? Anything can be arranged into 4 parts that, you know, some things lend themselves to great barbershop and some things not so much, but you don't always have to have every song fit into that barbershop bill, right? You can sometimes in a chorus repertoire, it's nice to have other songs. Maybe we want something like a little more modern. Maybe we want to try like an SSAA or a 3-part song. I know my chorus has some 3-part songs. It's kind of nice for the listener to break up. You know, sometimes when you go to concerts, you're like, it's all starting to sound the same, every single song. And that's because, you know, artists, they have their style, right? And so that's what they're going to present to you. And you're like, okay, everything's starting to sound the same. Sometimes that happens with us in barbershop. So it's nice to break things up with a little bit of a different flavor. But when that happens, we have to remember things like songs that are arranged in SSAA, they're not voiced the same way that we voice them. So when you go to sing them, things will be different. And sometimes we can't actually balance the chords as well as we can when we sing barbershop. And so you might just know that, okay, that song's not going to be our strongest. Also with SSAA, they often will take the melody line and it'll go in many of the different parts. It won't just be the lead line, right? Or this is a tenor solo. It's not going to be written like that. So just know that if that's what you're looking for, then that's great. That'll fit your bill. And then the other thing too is that the ranges often aren't the same. So in a SSAA song as they are in a barbershop song. But as we said, anything can be arranged. And so we're just going to watch this little performance here. Oh, did I get it going?
Representing the Sunshine District, welcome Main Street.
We love the songs from the good old days, but as times in music change, the music from the good days can get a little strange. A little strange. You know these will be the good old days 20 years from now. And oh my, these will be the good old songs that are on the radio now. We remember when the old songs were the songs our fathers know. And oh, but now it seems the old songs were sung by Billy Joel. Can't wait to sing the good old songs 20 years from now. Those songs that are the hits today, our contest will allow somehow. Here's a glimpse of what's to come. Just remember when we're done that these will be the good old songs just 20 years from now. 20 years from now, we'll sing. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, do you think I'm in love? That I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent. Bye, 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 bye. I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey baby, come on. Love you endlessly when you weren't there for me. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. I know that I can take no more. It ain't no lie. I wanna see you out that door, baby. Bye, 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 baby, bye, 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 baby, bye, bye. Oh, so what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves, and I don't need you. And guess what? I'm having more fun. And now that we're done, I'm gonna show you tonight. I'm alright. I'm just fine. And you're a tool. So what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves, and I don't need you tonight. 'Cause I got Uptown Funk, gonna give it to ya. Uptown Funk, gonna give it to ya. Don't believe me.
Sing it, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. It's okay, Tony.
Just watch. Just watch. That's barbershop right there. Man! At emotional value, sevens.
Guys, that 7 was so dope.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was most certainly the bomb, yo, dog. It's like barber shizzle. What do you think, Raj? What's happening? You know these will be the good old songs that may seem weird today will be the cat's meow. So let's enjoy it while we can, and remember where it all began, 'cause these will be the good old days. 20 years from Poker Face, my Poker Face, my Poker Face, my Poker Face. 20 years, and I got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. 20 years, and we'll still be all about the bass. No treble, we're all about the bass. No treble. 20 years from Hey Sexy Lady.
Whop 'em Gangnam style! Gangnam style!
Just 20 years from Thriller Night, and no one's gonna save you
From the beast about to strike! Hoo-hoo! Oh, no.
No wonder why he always grabbed himself.
Listen, Tony, somebody already did that song last year. It's already been done.
That's right, we're like a year late.
We really are. You know what we're best at?
Tell me.
Just singing the basic barbershop. Classic barbershop.
Classic, all right.
Well, here we go.
Bye. 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 And bye. We'll be singing the old songs. Bye.
Okay, so I know it's kind of long, but you had to see the whole thing. I was gonna cut it off, and then I'm like, oh, but the ending's so good. You have to see that. So, just basically anything can be arranged in 4 parts. That is a perfect example. But as they said at the end, they're just gonna sing good barbershop, right? So, a lot of kind of your ear training and where to start comes from listening to really good groups like that. YouTube is a fantastic place to start, although sometimes when that happens, we do tend to just watch them. So, their comedic timing you get wrapped up in that. I think if you just heard the audio, it might feel a little bit different. But anyways, I joined when I was 12, but I started listening to barbershop before that too. But I remember falling in love with ambiance. I had all of their cassette tapes that my parents picked up for me. And I think I probably wore them out, broke some of them. Anyways, they're no longer around because tapes aren't around, and really neither are CDs, right? So I listened religiously to barbershop music. Any group, any good group, I would listen to them. And now we don't even have CD players in our computers. We don't have them in our stereos. They're not in our cars. So you have to actually, I do need to make that effort to download everything. And, there's lots of places where you can get barbershop music from, iTunes being one of them. I even saw some on Amazon. So there's lots of different places. Barbershop.com is another place that you can get it, and singers.com where you can download the MP3s and then put it on your phone. You can have it in your car. It's just a different way of learning, which we have been kind of getting used to using more technology anyways in the last little while. But because of that switchover, I stopped really listening to a ton of barbershop. And the reasons why it is so great is because it trains your ear. It trains your ear to our chording, right? To our balance, understanding the chording, right? When there's key changes, different types of tags, different intros, pacing, the voicing, the harmony, interpretation, intonation. I mean, I learned so much listening to Rumors. I remember I used to study it and really focus in on the baritone. I think only one baritone can hear another baritone. But I used to focus in, I'd be like, how is she always just, she's always there, like she's always present. I don't feel like I'm always present in my vocal line, you know. And it literally was, I remember that revelation where I was like, oh my God, she just sings like it's just that constant pressure. And that came from airflow, you know. So some of these revelations, really a great place to start is just listening to really good barbershop. And I've actually heard people who are starting to get together and sing in person. I've heard them say that their choruses are learning their songs a lot faster. They have way better intonation and musicality because they've been listening to the learning tracks so much. So I guess there's a plus to us having to have been virtual for so long. You know, we use different senses. Our ability to sing with others is gone, which creates a completely different experience than having to sing with the learning tracks and to listen to them. And so, you know, I guess that's really, really great. There was this story a voice teacher told me once, and it was, I'm trying to figure out why I'm not full screen. Sorry. These are the things that like, and I don't know why. I think I'm in the presentation. Is there a little button that says full screen? Is it down here, maybe? Oh, there it is. Yay! Before we look at that, we'll just go back to this. So there was this voice teacher that told me this story about this saxophone player. He was a fantastic saxophone player. And he was in an accident that required him to be in the hospital for a long time and rehabilitate. And he couldn't play his saxophone, but he didn't want to lose what he already had. So we started practicing virtually. And he decided that he was going to take the hardest saxophone piece of music that he could find, and he learned it and he mastered it in whatever key it was written in. And this was just him playing in his imaginary, hearing it in his head, playing it over and over, the fingering and all of that. And then he decided, I've mastered it in this key, let me master it in different keys. And then the day came when he finally was able to play again, out of rehabilitated and at his home, and he picked up his saxophone and he played that song with never having practiced it ever on a real saxophone. And he played that song in every key that he had learned perfectly. So, you know, there is definitely that listening, visualizing, that is a key learning piece. So that's just my little story. I always find it amazing when people can do that. There was that other one, Lanny Bassman, that he told about the guy who was locked away, and he visualized playing the perfect golf game. He knew this course really well, and he went over it and over it and over it. And when he was finally released, he went and played the perfect golf game. So much for visualization. All right, so here we go. Some key elements to consider when you're looking for music. All right, simple, sensible, significant. But what does that mean? So simple doesn't necessarily mean a boring song, okay? Simple also applies to the singability of a song. It shouldn't feel too hard, like you're doing acrobats, okay? So you want to keep, that's what I mean by simple in that. All right, sensible means that it makes sense in either your package, it makes sense to your group, it has a good fit, right? That it isn't, you know, you don't have huge jumps in ranges, right? And we're going to look at a couple different pieces of music so you can see what I'm talking about, sensibility. of a song, you know. And obviously you want songs to have a climax and you want them to grow, so they need to be able to go somewhere, but you never want it out of your good range. So, you know, that's when we're at those extremes that we tend to we get those comments about, you know, not in the best quality, or, you know, at times it became a little unmusical. That's because you're probably at your range, your extremities, right? And so, and that doesn't mean that that always has to be it. Those always have to be your parameters. It means just for that time, in that moment, that's where it sits, you know, because we can all learn and grow. So we're all able to, you know, maybe this song was hard before and now it's easy to sing, right? Because you have practiced it and you built the stamina, you built the agility, you're able to do it now, which means the next song you pick can be a little bit harder. And also, if we don't challenge ourselves with those types of songs, then, you know, you never really do push yourself outside of that comfort zone. You know, you might have one of those songs that are kind of on the cusp and you're a little afraid to sing it and perform it for people. And sometimes those are the songs that if you force yourself to perform, the more you perform them, the more comfortable they get and you get with the song too. And significant. So is it memorable? Okay. Does it mean something to you or to your group, right? What pleasure are you getting out of it, out of the song? We don't love every song that we sing, especially in choruses. So there's other things that you have to look at. Look at the chording, look at the style of music. So I have this little video, and it's going to tie into that along with what we're going to talk about next, which is the fit to a chorus or a quartet. I didn't get this one inputted, but hold on a second. I just need to switch my screen. Okay, let me just switch over here. Okay. So here is a young looking vocal group, and I'm just going to play just a snip of them. Okay, so Mood Indigo, you know, it's been a popular song around for a long time in barbershop. Maybe it's kind of that minory bluesy feel that if you don't like the lyrics or the message that you need to focus on, not, you know, maybe a favorite for a lot of people, but it's been around for a long time. And so when I talk about the fit, this quartet, to me, look like a younger ensemble, and it doesn't really quite jive. For me, maybe you think it does. They were doing a good job, but you know, sometimes when it doesn't match what's being sung, there's kind of this disconnect, right? And so we care about what our audience is thinking, and we sing music so that we can entertain. And so we don't want them to be like, yeah, it's good, but why are they singing that? You know, there's been the talk about, like, you know, a quartet named Sirens. Would you see them wearing, you know, like power suits? Probably. That's what you would visualize, right? You wouldn't see them in a party dress. Maybe you would. Anyways, there's been talk around that, but that's important for song selection too. As you go through and you look and see what's the personality of your group, you know, what message are you trying to kind of put out there, what's your sound too? Like maybe this group is actually better at vocal jazz than they are at barbershop sound. So maybe that's why they wanted to try that song, right? And then what genres fit your group, you know, depending on the age. Definitely in the chorus, you know, you want to sing stuff that's going to be great for all the different age ranges you have in the group, right? So you have to look at kind of what genres you have that you want to try and pull out. Okay, so this next little thing we're going to look at are lyrics and vowels. So when you're looking at a song, you want to look and you want to be like, okay, are they open? Are they closed vowels? You know, are they going to produce a lot of sound or not a lot of sound? What's the singability of the consonants? So we're going to take a peek again at, it's just 3 titles. Now, do I need to change my screen or can you see that? Anyone? Can you see this?
We can see.
We can see it.
Yep.
You see lyrics and vowels? Okay, perfect. So I have 3 songs here, Runnin' Wild, Hard-Hearted Hannah, and Come Fly With Me. Okay, so we have Runnin' Wild, Lost Control, Runnin' Wild, Mighty Bold. Or we have Hard-Hearted Hannah, the Vamp of Savannah. Or Come Fly With Me, Come Fly, let's fly away. So we have these 3 different songs. They're all contestable, okay? And I want you to take a look and just, you can put in the chat if you want, which ones, what you think for each one. So which one out of this is probably not the best one for vowels? Do we have other responses? So take a look again, which one not the best for vowels? All right, I've got a couple. I've got a couple here that have said Runnin' Wild, and I'm going to agree because yes, what do I win? The right to say you're right. Runnin' wild, right? If we don't sing with the space, we have to actually physically remember to go running wild, lost control, rather than running wild. It wants to live in a smaller space. Okay, nothing wrong with the song, but you have to take that into consideration when you're choosing it. Okay, if you're choosing it for a quartet, it's going to be easier to get 4 voices to sing those vowels taller than it is to get a chorus to do that, right? Okay, so looking at these, Hard-Hearted Hannah is great, except for what? It's not the Hannah part. All right, I got a couple answers here in the chat. Looks like you're right again. Is that singable or hard-hearted Hannah, hard-hearted Hannah. There's a lot of sound in a ha sound, but that R is gonna get you. Hard-hearted Hannah, right? And especially if you have some people turning to it sooner, it creeps in. Sometimes it just likes to creep in, all right? And you can't help it. So that's a difficulty with that song. Then we have Come Fly With Me, Come Fly, Let's Fly Away. Anything wrong with that other than the range I just chose to pick it in? What is up with that? Wordy. Come fly with me, let's fly, right? Come fly. There's a lot of singable sounds in there, which is great. getting everybody to turn them at the same time might be a little bit tricky as well. There's nothing wrong with any of these song choices. All right. You get to choose what it is that you want to have to focus on. Do I want to have to focus on that R, you know, in Hard Hearted Hannah? It's a great song, not just because of me, my name. I wonder if it actually is spelt with an H on the end. Oh, well, I digress. You know, but if that's what you're going to choose to work on, then that's fine. That'll work for you, right? Running Wild, if that suits your chorus or your quartet's persona, and that's, you want it, maybe it's for a package idea and it's a perfect fit, then that's fine. You just have to be aware of where those pitfalls are and make sure that you address them, because, you know, sometimes we don't, or sometimes we think we can address them, and then it ends up being your nemesis, because it's like, oh, I thought we could get the R and it's just not working out, right? So you have to decide what it is you're going to battle with. Okay, let's go back, and if I can, did that change over nicely? Ooh, 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 yay, that's awesome. I like when things work. It's good, it's good. Okay, so the next is song structure. Okay, so, and the song, these elements, musical elements, the song and song structure, they're similar, okay? But you want to look at repeated sections, right? The lyrics, are they poetic, right? Is there the chorus? Is there a bridge? Is there a transition? Are there key changes? What's the high point, right? So all of those things you want to look at in a song. That's what makes a song interesting, okay? But you also want to make sure that melody lines are easy to follow, right? What's the tempo of the song? Is it a really wordy song and then it's also fast? Because that's going to pose a problem, okay? Look at the intervals. We're going to look at a song in a minute, but I want you to look at things like the intervals, okay? We're going to talk about some of the chording in some of the other examples that I have, right? Rhythms. Are there tricky rhythms like triplets? Triplets tend to be hard. And then, of course, the range. That's always kind of my key. The first thing I think when I look at a song, for whether it's a chorus or a quartet, I look at the ranges, okay? And then I look and I see, okay, well, it's kind of low overall, so would we be able to pitch it up? Or it's kind of high overall, would we be able to pitch it down? You know, pitching songs up and down, a key is okay. When you start having to move them like more, a full tone up, a full tone down, like then you start to change kind of the feel of the song and where it's supposed to live. It doesn't change it so much that it's not recognizable. It's just enough to, you know, that musicality, it does have a little bit of effect on it. And then the plan of the song. This is what you actually have the most control over, right? The dynamics, the lyrical delivery, the breath plan, all of that stuff. But that comes kind of after you've decided to select a song. However, sometimes it does matter in the song selection. So we're going to take a look here. This is, I'm hoping that it doesn't want to load. Why is it asking me things? I don't, okay. Can you see that? Bye bye Blackbird. Maybe?
Yep.
Awesome. This is great. Why all of a sudden? Sure, enable everything. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this. So it's so funny because I'm like, oh, Blackbird. I know that. When somebody is what I started keep singing in my head. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me look at this intro. So I'm like, no more sighing, no more crying. I'm going home tonight. Okay, so I look at the lyrics, I look at the chording. I think to myself, oh, that's kind of boring, but maybe we could do something with it. Let me look at the rest of the song. So, and looking at the ranges, I'm like, okay, basses on F. F is kind of a new normal for a bass. It never used to be. That used to be kind of high. It still is kind of high, but you know, we have songs where basses are singing A's now. So looking at everybody else, it's kind of, you know, I've got some unison notes here. That's all right. Although it's the very first few chords, so is that really what you want to present? Okay, so those are the types of things I would look at. And so then I started looking at it and I'm like, same, da, da, da. Okay, well, these chords, just looking at how they're written, these ones are really nicely, tightly stacked. So when you see them all close together like that, I'm like, okay, close harmonies, that's great. You don't need to be musical to see that, right? Whereas here you can see there's a spread with the basses down low and then the three parts up together. Okay, those create different feelings, they create different sounds. Then I get into the song and I'm like, bye, bye, bye. Okay, so there's some belly kind of things going on, some interest, right? And so I started singing it. So I was like, pack up all your caramel, here I go, singing low, bye, bye, blackbird, at my pace, like this. When somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, so is he. So I'm going through it, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit boring, but, well, let's just keep going, right? And then I get to this section right here. Transitional interlude, and I look at it and I go, well, I don't know this part. I don't know, is this like just an original thing that was written? I'm going back to see my sweetie, now's the day, here's what he told me when I went away. And then I look here and I'm like, bye bye baby, remember you're my baby. And I'm like, wait a second, how does the speed of that song go with bye bye blackbird? So then I go back up. Literally, this is what I do with a song. I go back up and I go, oh, it's fast. It is. Pack up all your camo, here I go singing low, bye bye blackbird. Oh, well, that's going to help with the monotony of a lot of these chords looking the same. So that will help with there. And then that would also help with the transition into, although I still don't know how that transition goes, but it will help into the bye bye baby, remember you're my baby when they give you the eye. Right, so now I'm like, okay, now I understand it. So then I start looking at different things like accidentals. How many accidentals do we have hanging around in a song? Because if there's a lot, and the song isn't too bad, this is heading into a key change. That's why we have so many in this section. If there's a lot, that's harder to tune, and that is the problem sometimes with medleys. When you put two songs together, it's great because it keeps the excitement going. You don't have bridges and you don't have sections that, oh, I never even knew that part existed in the song, right? You have the parts that everybody recognizes, but sometimes you have these strange transitions that you don't know. And then, yeah, the different key changes that have to occur to get us into this. And that's the other thing. Now I'm working in 6 flats. That's not a really common. I mean, it happens, obviously, but it's not like 3 flats we're used to seeing, 2 flats, a sharp. Those types of keys we're used to seeing in barbershop. When we get into 6 flats, now we're like, meh. So after I go through this whole thing, looking at it, I literally will scan it all the way through, and then I'll go back to the original song, back to the original key. I hope back to the original key. You know, ranges, the ranges are pretty good. It's still a little boring. Let's look at the tag. This, I think, is no. Oh, whoa, we have another key change. So we have to make it more exciting, I guess. So we added, which tells me there's got to be some monotony going on here. Which, when I think of my chorus, how are we going to handle this, right? Bell chords, we've got bell chords in here. How are we going to be able to pull bell chords off? Or can we? Do we have good enough timing and musicality, a sense of musicality that we can do that? Okay, I'm going to go to the tag. What is happening in this tag? right? Because that's the other part that's really important. So we just had a key change. And I'm going tonight. Okay, we got a bass string. Oh, bass string for quite a while. All right. And then into a glissando. So that's fun. People like those. And then this strange, I think the tenors would hold over here. Tenor hang. Yep, no breath. And then there'd be this bye-bye. Okay, it's not terrible. Then the next thing I would do is there a recording? I need to hear it. So I would look everywhere to see if I have a recording of this. And I just happen to have a recording of it. Go figure. So give me a second here. I just have to change over. Oh, I couldn't open my media file. That's strange. Hold on. It's not quite cooperating. Oh, wow. Played earlier. I just closed. I just closed what I needed open. Okay, let me see if I already downloaded it. Sorry. Take a water drink or a drink of water. I don't know why I said water drink. That's what my kids would say when they were in school. Okay. No, I didn't download it. Okay.
Hannah, just a question you can think about talking about. Sue DuBois wants to know, how do you evaluate music if you don't read music?
Right.
Just some
so I
extra.
I had mentioned that one where like you can see that the notes are close together. So that would tell you that the chords are, the voicing is close together, whereas some of them you see they're very spread apart. And that would indicate that they're a little bit further. They're harder to fill when they're further apart. When chords are closer together, they're easier to tune and they're easier to sing.
I never like when the bass is so far from the lead.
Yeah, and sometimes you have like the three top parts up here and the bass way down here, and then generally you revoice it so the basses come back up to meet everybody else. So yeah, you know, phone a friend option as well. You know, see if there's somebody who can help you musically. This is where having the recording, which I found, is important then. So, you know, I will spend a lot of money just buying the $2 learning tracks because I need to hear it too. You know, I do have musical background, so I'm lucky in that sense, but having that, just hearing it, sometimes you can get the feel for it, right? Sometimes you'll be able to be like, oh yeah, no, this isn't for my group at all. And if you didn't hear it, and I know you're probably like, oh, it's $2 I just wasted, but it's worth it. You know, it's worth it for me to hear it already done in 4 parts, because otherwise there's no way for me to know what it's supposed to sound like. Back, can you hear it? Did you hear it?
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Can you see it?
Not yet.
You can't see the song?
Correct.
Oh, that's too bad. All right. Well,
Screen share again.
oh yeah, that's good. I love when I'm not smart. It's so awesome. Makes me laugh every time. Right, that would help. If I screen share. Okay, here we go. There's the screen share. So here we go. I'm gonna try and be coordinated enough to play the music and show you the paper. Sheet music.
No more sighing, no more crying. I'm going home tonight.
somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, so is he. Bye bye, blackbird. No one here can love or understand me. Oh, what heartland stories they all had me. Make my bed and light the light. I'll arrive late tonight, blackbird. Bye bye. Going back to see my sweetie, now's the day. Here's what he told me when I went away. He said, now bye bye, baby. Remember you're my baby when they give you the eye. Know that you care, won't you write and declare that no one will lose you are still on the square. I'll be gloomy, but send that rainbow to me.
And then I'll go to the end to see what the tag is like. I'll listen to the whole thing, but for right now, we'll just go to the end and listen to the tag.
When tonight I'm gonna see my baby, so farewell, so long. Bye bye.
Okay, so I hear the transition. I'm like, oh, that's how it goes. Okay, there was some strange chording going into the key change, which would maybe pique my ears. And then this at the ending, that ba-da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, right? This is all of those accidentals. That's what these funny symbols are. Those will be indicators whether or not something is going to be strong or easy to tune. These chordings, the chords are great because they're close together. But sometimes that makes it really hard to tune because people can only move a tiny little bit and they have to be accurate when they're doing that. So if I loved the whole song, but that was the part that I didn't like, then I would just go to the arranger and I would say, is it any way I can get you to write me a new tag? And it doesn't matter your group. I've been contacting arrangers since I first started singing in a quartet when I was, I don't know, 17. And I would contact and I would ask them specific questions about the arrangements. So you don't be afraid. Don't be like, oh, well, we're just, whatever. We can't talk to arranger. Of course you can. You paying for the arrangement, not necessarily custom, but just whatever. Just go and talk to them because they don't mind. This is their piece, right? This is their work. So they don't mind talking about it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What if you want to change it yourself? Like how do you get that okay? Like, do you let the arranger know we made a new tag? Is it okay? Or
yeah, sometimes it depends. If it's just like here, I don't want us to sing these two tags. We're going to end the chord right here, right? Then it's okay. You don't have to go back to the arranger. I believe that there is a percentage. If you've changed something like 30% of the song or 25, and I can't quite remember, but there is a percentage where then you have to go back to the arranger because then now you've changed the feel of their piece. So yeah, there are times where you do need to go back and get their permission. And then if you are good at arranging and that's something, then it ends up being, it's not just arranged by them, it's arranged by you as well, depending on how much of the song. We've changed intros, whether it's been, on our own or going back to an arranger and changing it. Even sometimes having different arrangers change the intros or the tags, that's okay too. It's usually only, a system or two systems, maybe 10 bars. But look at the length of the song. If the song's only 40 bars and you've just changed 10 of them, you've changed a quarter of the song. So you want to make sure that in relation to their arrangement, I would say 20 to 30% of the song, if you're changing, you have to go back to them and then you have to go through a different process. It's a very good question.
What is a system, Hannah? Somebody's asking.
The system to picking a song or the system to get
No, you're talking about the system on the chart itself.
Oh, sorry. System is just a row. It's just basically like this is a system here. So usually on a page you'd have 4 systems. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's a musical term.
No worries.
Yeah.
And Jill's following up with a question. What about changing wording, like writing a parody?
Parody, yes. So parodies are iffy. You know, parodies can be great and fit like packages and be really good. You do have to usually get clearance on them, on the lyrics, the new changes to lyrics before you sing them, definitely before you perform them. If you're doing it for like a fun little chorus thing and it's going to be done once, like at your, you know, retreat dinner, and you're doing this parody, then I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's something you're going to be performing, you do need to go through international and have them cleared. And I know that, let me just, oh, easier said than done. I sometimes feel like the genie up in the corner, you know, and then this might be some of you, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I was going to go through and take a look. I mean, we used music already, so if we had time, but you know, I just looked at the time and where does the time go? These were just examples we were going to go through. So giving yourself plenty of time for song selection is really important too, especially if it's a contest song, and that's to actually select it, because once you've made a choice, people tend to listen to the recording first and then they go and look for the music, and sometimes it doesn't work like that, especially with the copyright right now. So you're best to go to Sweet Adeline, see if it's in their list first, and if it's a song that you know some arranger has done it, then you can go straight to the arranger and they'll let you know if they've had it cleared. So somebody like Larry Wright, he only sells the songs that he's already had cleared. So you don't have to worry about that copyright piece. So you have to give yourself plenty of time, because if you do have to get a song cleared from a clearing house, then you need months. Like, plan for 3 months at least to get a song cleared. And there is a process, and I'm going to just kind of go through this quickly because there is a process that you can go through. And International has it all. They'll guide you, or even the arranger. I've had arrangers send me links and they go, here's the link of where you need to clear it. I literally go on there and it's really easy to follow. So if it's on international website, it's already cleared and you don't have to worry about it. Some of the other websites, sometimes they will say, an arranger will say, you can sing this, but it's not cleared. So you're going to have to get clearance for it. So yeah, so give yourself plenty of time. Contact the arranger. Don't be afraid, or have a judge or a friend help you if they're musical, or somebody on your music team. Okay. Song selection is a part of the music score. And it is affecting in several other areas, because things like intonation, you know, vocal skills, if you're having a hard time singing the song, then it wasn't the best vehicle for you. So they're all interrelated. However, 70% of the music score does come from how the piece is performed. Okay, so there's that portion as well. When I say make it your own, a lot of people listen to queens or listen to top groups, and that's my problem. I listened to only them always. So I wanted to sing everything they did. And I remember my first contest when I was 17, and we sang 2 songs that the Growing Girls did. And I mean, I don't want to say failed miserably. I mean, we didn't, you know, die when we were on stage singing them, but they were too hard for us. But we didn't know. We just loved the Growing Girls doing these 2 songs. So we're going to do them, right? Exactly the same way as they did them, but try to make it your own. So here are some websites for music and learning tracks, which is why I wanted to pop through this. So Sweet Adeline's, that would be my first resource always. Okay. Also, the barbershop, the men's shop barbershop, they have a lot of songs on there for mixed voices, women's voices, and men's voices. And again, the clearance is the same. If they're on there, they're cleared.
Can you maybe touch, while you're talking about the men's, about singing arrangements that was originally arranged for men?
Yes.
And then they tweak it to female, but it's not
Yeah.
always the greatest
Yes.
courting. Can you just
Right.
talk about that?
Men's courting generally is really spread out. If you've ever seen a men's arrangement, the baritone looks like they're singing A above the lead all the time, and in this weird area, it's like floating in the middle. It's not even where. Why do I have so many ledger lines? It's funny actually when I look at my dad's music. But the chording is very different. So you can't just take a men's song and go, oh, we'll just pitch it up a third, and then we'll be able to sing it, because it doesn't fit our voices. So where our kind of, we like that closer harmonies for sure. And it's singability. It just doesn't work. Even sometimes when you revoice, and you find for women too, when you revoice a chord, you go, oh, that just sounds weird. Like, it's revoiced, it should be fine. It's all the same notes. It's just who's singing them and which one has to be more dominant and predominant, and that gets thrown off, like if the bass is supposed to be on the fifth and you've just given them a third, that's really weird. So it's going to be harder to balance. Yeah, which is the problem with the men's. So these are just some arranger websites that I will send this, and so people will have access to just click on the different ones.
There's a statement from Ivy about different skill levels, and Ivy I know Hannah knows this, but when you go to look at the soundtracks the arrangers have put on, they'll put easy, like they're being more descriptive with
Yes.
the songs, easy, medium, B level, they're helping that way.
Yeah, they do definitely. Some of them do, some of them don't. I can tell you arrangers like Aaron Dale and David Harrington, they're going to be hard. They're going to be hard no matter what. So, but yeah, they do list, and sometimes they'll give you who's sung it. So if there's a song that somebody's sung, then you will be able to listen to it. Learning tracks too. This actually is a great website. It takes you to a list of a whole bunch of learning tracks. Learning tracks are sometimes a little bit of a trap as well, because if we're going to listen to them so much, you want them to be good. You want the singers to be accurate. I remember we always used Kim Kraut because she was the only one that was around. This was many years ago again. But she sang everything like this. Oh, how I miss you tonight. And so, that's how we started singing, because that's what we listened to. And so, when you're picking your learning tracks, especially for your chorus, you're going to want to make sure that they are good learning tracks, but also they match the music. That is something that drives me crazy, because little things will be changed. Maybe if I'm having somebody arrange or do a learning track for me, I'll say, yeah, in bar 40, actually, I've revoiced this chord because they don't like this one. So can you just do this on the learning track instead? But they never do. It's never marked down in a sheet music anywhere, and the arrangers don't tell you. Some of them do, actually. Sorry, the learning track people, some of them do. Jen Cook has definitely had some that she said this song has some changes, so you want to be aware of that too. Custom arrangements, there's a list of arrangers, and then this I want to touch on quickly. I know, like 5 minutes. This is the diversity and equity inclusion song assessment tool that every song, whether you're a chorus or a quartet, needs to pass your song through. And this was initiative, and it came out. Sorry, did I stop sharing or did I pause it? Is it still there?
We can still see it.
Okay, that's good. So every song that you sing has to go through, and they're checking a lot of appropriateness, right? We sing a lot of songs and we're unaware of why they were written. So it's looking at that. We obviously have had discussions in the past before this was even brought up about songs that had Dixie in them. And then there was a big movement, no Dixie songs. And so this, and some of you who are, you know, maybe on a task force in your chorus to go through these songs and check them through the database. Know what it's like. I've done a couple songs, but it's really interesting because you learn the meaning of the song, right? So you have a different perspective on what it is. One of the songs we did, I didn't even realize the story. And then when I realized what the story was about, like why he wrote it, it means even more to us now, you know, knowing that that's what his message was. So it also helps in the delivery of the music. But what I'm showing you here is the database that everybody who is a member of Sweet Adelines has access to. And so if you're singing in a quartet, let's say, you want to see if the song that you just picked up for fun has been cleared or not, you know, you can go through and you can go all the way. Oh, great. All the way. Look how many arrangers there are of it, right? There's a Vescos, a Briner, a Gentry, and a Graham, and oh good, they're all passed, so they're all fine to sing. And then if you want, you can actually click on the link and you can see what the notes are about the whole meaning behind it. So it's actually really great tool. But obviously if a song, and I didn't know this, but I was looking today because I like to do weird things, so just spend my time searching through the database. Sometimes I think it's a good to get song ideas too. So I'm like, oh, let's see what songs people are singing. I didn't even know the Zippity Doo Dah. I always loved the song, but it's a no. Nobody is allowed to sing it anymore. And so any song with Zippity Doo Dah, if there's a medley of it in, or if that was a part of whatever, you can't sing even a couple bars of it. If you're entering it into a song for fun, you can't do that. It's no longer, and you can click on the link to find out why. But, you know, even if it's in your repertoire, it's gone now. So you have to make sure that with the with this whole initiative that we're actually following it and that you're doing that. Even songs like, because I know that with copyright, if there are songs in your repertoire that have been cleared once but not re-cleared, you're okay, you're grandfathered to sing it, as long as you have proof of purchase. But that's not the same with this. You can't be like, yeah, but it's not. It's a completely different thing. And so you have to make sure that you definitely check your songs on that. That's new this year to the Sweet Adeline community. So, and then the other thing was copyright. I put a couple articles here about copyright and kind of where to find information on the regional website as well. All right, well, 8:29. I didn't leave much for question and answer, but find the song that best fits your group. Each one has its positives and its problems. And as long as you just keep singing, 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 singing.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Tons of great information. I'm sorry we couldn't get to, I mean, I'm sorry this wasn't 2-3 hours.
Well, I did it and then I was like,
oh there's so much.
All morning.
We could have a part 2.
I can't ready.
We could do a part 2. Does anybody have any lingering, like your own, you know, questions? We could take a couple questions and see if Hannah can guide you with things that you're wondering about your chorus, quartet. Anybody?
Oh, yeah, and that's right. Good one, Sue. If you could do the survey.
I was going to ask if any of these folks would be willing to turn on their cameras for a second so we could get a really great screenshot for the Facebook page.
Love that.
Begging them.
Well, it's good you're all still there. Probably having snacks.
So I'll
snacks.
give let me just open up my paint. Hold on a second so I can have someplace to paint it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Maybe not make me so big. Just put me small again.
You are in the gallery, darling. Although our marketing coordinator specifically asked me for a picture of you, so
your hair is really nice. You should get a picture of you.
Yeah, you look really okay. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Sweet Adeline smile. All right, let me see how that looks. Hold on one second. Looks great. Thank you so much. Now it looks like we were all awake on this class and it was a great class.
Oh my gosh, I still have 5 million questions, but anybody have any questions? Do the little hand raise down at the bottom. If anybody has anything, I know that one of the questions along the way, Hannah, do you know any arrangers that do like easy or like probably B level, C level singing? Anything that they could look at?
Oh, you know,
I know there's not one,
it's
but
hard. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And going through and kind of seeing the songs. I mean, Larry Wright has a lot of kind of middle, and he actually will say can be sung by a B chorus or quartet. Like he will actually in the description write that. So Larry Wright is a good one.
he has a great website.
Yes, and you can hear the demos. He has little snippets of all of them. And he does learning tracks as well. I mean, it's better when his daughter Ashley does them, but sometimes he does them too. How do you find songs if you, oh, it disappeared. I'm
If you
battling
don't
with
know a
my-
lot of songs. Oh,
Yeah, like most, sorry, this is actually my question. Hi, Hannah, it's Ivy. This is something I actually have difficulty with. I do not actually know a ton of songs. So how do I find a song when I've never heard it before? And it would be great for us,
Right.
but I've never heard it. I know
So-
nothing about it.
This is where the listening to barbershop is going to help you. Just if you can go on YouTube and start listening to various groups, even go to the Sweet Adeline website so like they have a page on YouTube. You can go to videos and you can hear a lot of different choruses and quartets, and just kind of start turning your ears on to, you know, even what style you like. You know, that's where I would say, because, you know, I didn't know all these songs either. It was just from listening and just being exposed. That's
Is-
mine.
Has Billy Joel made it into songs that we can sing yet?
well, the problem is getting the copyright. Like some of the more modern, it's, you know, you've got to go to the publisher and the publisher's like, well, who are you?
Right.
And, I don't want you singing my song. So that's why Hannah said it takes, if you're going to go that route, you really want to sing a song, it's going to take some begging
Which
and
is
pleading.
why I say go to Sweet Adeline's, because if it's on that website, it's cleared, you know, so you you can miss that step, right? But again, well, you can put in the Sweet Adeline's search, you can put in the title of the song. You don't have to know their arranger. So that's also good. You can just put that in.
And great, just a plug for our regional faculty. Our faculty is all on the Region 16 website, and Hannah and Suzanne are both on the faculty. And pretty much any of them can also help you if you're in a quartet with music selection or your chorus director. Suzanne is the education coordinator. You know, we know that it's an art, right?
It's a science.
And I forgot to mention this, but I wanted to. This amount of songs that we have learned in our lifetime compared to the amount of songs that you actually sing. It is, because you might learn something and then I don't like it, chuck it. Or you learn something, no, that one's not working. Oh, we can't get the key change. I don't know why. Okay, you know, you've tried changing it, just doesn't feel the same. Get rid of it. Like the amount of songs that have been learned and thrown away. And that's okay. It's part of the process. You can't be like, oh, you know, this is why sometimes too, like you don't want to buy the whole learning track until you really know that you want the song, right? So, and I know that's happened where people purchase learning tracks and then they can't find the music. And now I'm stuck with this learning track, you know? So just cover your butt. You know, do the little $2 or $3 or whatever learning track to hear what it's going to sound like. Make sure you can, if you love it, find the music first before you go and purchase the learning tracks.
Hey, Hannah,